Because that's what you're going to get. It's Andy versus Michael round. We actually didn't know if it was 5 or 6. And who cares? But that's what it is. So let's get into this. Enjoy.
Okay, got the red smoke. Gun run, north or south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke. Okay, copy, west of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now. Oh, what it, baby, give it to me, I need it. You're cleared hot. Copy, cleared hot.
And we're off and running. Did you bring the fucking heat today?
I think so, but
I often wonder if you're capable of
no
bringing
matter
the
what
heat.
I bring, you always say it's not good enough.
Here's what worries me. You were over at the house the other day, and you and Tyler get into the same room, and I mean, we're talking like childish levels of cackling.
We showed you what we were laughing at. You agree it was funny.
Yes, I'm worried about what you guys do in your off time. What you showed me, which shall remain nameless on today's episode, for reasons that anybody who, if it didn't remain nameless, would understand immediately.
Yeah.
It was disturbing. It was the things that's like it's more scary than like what's that guy's name? M. Night Shyamalan or whatever it is, the horror movies.
Yeah.
It can't be unseen, regardless of the bleach that you can pour directly into your eyeballs. It can't be unremembered, or I guess the term for that would be forgotten. Yeah, it's like the stains in your underwear, Michael. You can wash them out, but they just
They're
still
there
stay
forever. Yeah.
And maybe other people don't see them, but you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we know what we're talking about.
Do you think that some people should be restricted from social media because of what we saw? It's you have the right of expression, right? So perhaps this is a First Amendment issue. It's not good.
I think maybe a solution would be to, on the user end, keep everything the same, but just don't show it to anybody. So make it look like they're doing something, but in reality, it'd kind of be like...
Would you have to make up the metrics, though, on the back end to show them?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you hear this, I'm shadow banned.
Right,
some people are shadow banned. Some people are
That's
boring.
true. Yeah.
So...
Yeah, there's really no way to know.
There's kind of a way to know. Thankfully, this individual has not that many followers, most of which I think are fake, and this material is not reaching a greater audience.
When you have a certain amount of followers and then the likes on your posts are much, much less than that amount, it's indicative of something.
So intuitively to me, I was late to the game to social media. I think I started on any social media after 2010, I think. I'm not sure, but definitely late to when it became new. I almost intuitively could tell that there was something off when you see those huge numbers but small engagement. It seems, though, as if it fools a lot of people and actually brands as well.
Yeah.
And for people out there listening who maybe don't understand what I'm talking about, there are people out there who can appear to be very influential. We're talking millions upon millions of people following them or whatever the platform calls a subscriber or whatever it is. And then you watch these people put up a post and there's like 20 engagement pieces or likes, and the comments you can tell are all bots. It's just, man, social media is the most filtered, artificial world.
Yeah. I saw a post recently that basically it showed this guy made a post on Twitter or a comment on Twitter, something about
X, sir.
X.
X, formerly known as Twitter, which is one of the most irritating things to me ever. It's like, call it one or the other.
Yeah. But he made a comment about Hitler, and it's so funny because all of the comments below it are like, I'm sorry, I cannot say anything good about this man. And it's just showing how there are a bunch of bot comments, AI botters.
Thank you, Madame Crypto, for my amazing payback. I have to block those. I see those that'll show up on sometimes on like my personal Instagram, and you have to go in and block like 8 people.
Yeah.
And then they come back in like a week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. The hell are we talking about? This is your show. I know what you were talking about. Whether or not you were capable of bringing the heat.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start it out with a humorous question.
Is this a collaboration between you and Tyler?
I don't think Tyler asked me to ask. Somebody did ask me, and actually, it's.
Is this a mutual friend of ours? Acquaintance?
Yeah, we both know. I don't remember who exactly it is off the top of my head, but we do both know him.
Spectacular. Fire away.
Yeah. So, have you heard of the term soaking?
Yes.
Oh, you know what this is?
I'm deep into the Mormon culture.
It's
Yeah.
such a bizarre workaround that
Yeah.
I don't. It's like at that point you might as well just pull the trigger.
Why don't you pull up the definition of that and read it for everybody?
Okay.
Yeah, we're off to the races on this one. This is a good one. There's a variety of other terms. I so deeply want people to be able to believe what they want to believe, right? Soaking. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay.
And don't forget the jump man. All right, everybody. What if you're driving your car, pull over, I'd get a notepad out. Or
Yeah.
maybe the,
You might want to take notes on this one.
yeah, the note app on your phone will suffice. Don't do it while driving.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's you, Michael.
Soaking. This is from Urban Dictionary, by the way.
Yeah.
Some Mormon teens have convinced themselves that putting a penis in a vagina and then not moving is not sex.
Hence the soaking.
Yeah, that's called soaking. Now, the jump man is the person who will jump in the bed next to you soaking to get some friction going without you technically moving.
Yeah. This is real.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's real.
What does this fall into the? It meets the intent of the law, but not the letter of the law. Or however
Right,
that phrase is.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. With my own kids, you'll understand this when you become a parent. You're like, I hope my
Okay.
kids never are exposed to or experience drugs, sex, or alcohol. Even though you had your own exposure and experience to it. You
Right,
want them
yeah.
to be this bubble encapsulated child that never encounters those things. I think there are healthy ways to be exposed to those things. And again, I am such a fan of people having the religious beliefs that they want.
Yeah.
I know people who are in their 30s and waited to have sex until they got married. And my theory on that is, if that is your belief and it is a guiding principle and it enriches your life and you feel better as a person about that, fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's devotion for sure.
It is. And then I know people who had their first sexual encounters in like their almost preteen years, which scares the shit out of me, right?
Yeah,
So
that's insane.
So you know the spectrum, but also both of those people, I can point at countless ones from, well, not in the more religious camp because I know less of those people, but I can point towards countless people who had those early sexual experiences and they're okay as well.
Yeah.
They didn't turn out to be a serial killer. They're not, that I'm aware of, paying somebody to stomp on their balls with a 6-inch stiletto heel while wearing a dive mask. You know, as an example,
Right, just throwing that
hypothetically.
out there, yeah.
But I mean, one, is it natural for people? And this is, I've seen this on YouTube, a guy going around with a camera, basically interviewing people at Brigham Young University. And the number of people who say, "Oh yeah, soaking's a thing," and I'm into it, is shocking to me. So you're basically, we'll use a shitty football analogy. Like you're on the 1 yard line and then you're going to fumble. It's like,
Right, yeah, yeah.
What are we doing? I mean, I don't know. I don't want people to deviate from their faith. And at the same time, you know, this is just kind of saying, you know, the bicycle that I ride on doesn't have 2 tires. It's 2 circular pieces of aluminum with
Right.
spoke. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you're just creating a different definition to an end state.
Yeah, you're achieving the same exact thing.
And the jump man.
I
mean, I don't want to be in the room when other people are soaking.
The version I've heard is it's a bunk bed.
Yeah,
And
they're kicking from underneath.
Yeah, the person on bottom is kicking with their feet.
Which, whether you're creating the friction or not, the friction is there. So again, are we even in a deeper gray area? Are we in the fucking Laurentian abyss of gray areas here?
I don't even know what that is, but it seems like a deep abyss of some sort.
I think
so
it's
I'll
the
say
deepest
yes.
part of the ocean.
I thought that was the Marianas Trench.
I might have got the Laurentian Abyss out of a movie.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I did. It might have been that one where they were the Abyss. I actually might have gotten it out of the Abyss. Yeah, the Laurentian Abyss. Where's that?
underwater valley in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Canada.
That's exactly what I was thinking about when I said that.
yeah.
I knew precisely where it was on the map too.
Indeed, I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah, no, I pulled that one directly out of my ass. Man, I wonder what the Mormon scholars would say about soaking. I feel like they'd be anti-soaking.
I would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who are out there in the audience who are Mormon, give us your feedback.
Yeah, any Mormons sound off.
And by that, please, I mean message Michael directly.
No videos, please.
All right.
Strictly text.
Yeah. What else you got? Ooh, where does the jump man fall? This is a slight cucking scenario as well. Another person in the room, you know?
Well, I think for it to be a cucking scenario, the cuck would have to have an emotional investment in the woman.
Okay. Fair enough. This is just pure mechanics.
Yeah. This is purely utilitarian.
This is the creation of friction and movement by any means necessary, as long as you're not participating.
Yeah, as long as you're not moving, it's fine.
Got you. Even though you are moving, you're not causing the movement.
Right, yeah, your muscles aren't contracting,
Yeah.
I guess.
Officer, I wasn't speeding. I was just going too fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I wasn't speeding. I didn't move my foot off of the pedal at all.
Yeah. It was the car's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't speeding, but the car was.
I was-
I'm going to try that the next time I get
Yeah.
pulled over.
My foot was static the whole time. The car just kept going.
Do you know how fast you're going? I don't, because the car was in control.
Yeah. That's
It's a good legal document, or not document, but doctrine that you could probably stand up in
yeah,
court.
I'm sure that sounds like some sovereign citizen stuff.
No, that sounds like nothing like sovereign citizen. They're going to hit you with, they have the right to travel.
Right.
They're not in the conduct of commercial business. They're going to probably avoid the 10th Amendment, or they'll quote it improperly. They're definitely going to quote the 5th and 4th. So the right to not incriminate yourself in the unlawful search and seizure.
Right.
Yeah, there's some good shit that they throw out
You've
there.
watched a lot of those videos.
Oh my God.
I've watched a few, but nowhere near as many as you have.
I mean, whatever. If you don't want to be prepared for the challenges of life, then you take whatever path that you want to take.
For sure.
What else you got?
Okay. So I saw this video, and this one made me think. So I wanted to compare and contrast our answers.
Okay.
It was a statistic that said people born before, like, I think 2000
Okay.
usually have a specific moment in mind when asked, when were you most proud to be an American? And people born after
shit.
usually cannot point to a specific moment where they're like, yes, that's where I was most proud. So I want to see what your answer is to that question.
Man, I've never thought about that. I don't. A time that I was the most proud. Do you have an example for your own life?
I thought about it, and I actually do have a...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You go first. It'll give me a little bit more time to think. Since
Okay,
you've already,
yeah.
Because I have never actually thought about that.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about this question, so I thought about it for a couple days. And the one I came up with was when the SEAL Team 6 killed bin Laden, and they had a...
What the fuck is wrong with you?
No, just stay with me. They
I
had
don't want to. I want off the train.
Anyways, they had like a news...
Operation Neptune Spear.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a
So
news...
you obviously know nothing about this, but continue.
No, not at all. I just have this memory.
Okay.
They had a news thing about it, and I remember it was like really late, and my mom was watching, and I went out, and I saw like citizens of all different countries in the Middle East waving the American flag. And I was like, huh, that's my country. Like, that's cool that other citizens of other countries are proud of us for doing something.
That's an interesting question. I don't know if I have a singular moment like that, but again, you've had a few days to think about this.
Yeah,
you shotgunning motherfucker.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what this episode is for. So well
Exactly.
played. Here's what I can tell you, and I haven't thought about this in probably fucking a decade and a half. I can think very crystal clear of being inside of a helicopter. And the examples I can think of for whatever reason are 47s. So they're a larger helicopter, the two rotor blades that are on top.
Okay.
Think of a flying school bus, essentially. They're the big ones. Okay. They're the Chinooks. They're
yeah.
loud as
Okay.
shit. They're the awesome images like in Afghanistan where just the tail wheels are on like the top of a building and people are coming up to the back of them. The images are pretty iconic. I can remember very specifically, yep, that's them, CH-47.
Okay. Yeah.
And then like the TF-161s will have an extended fuel probe up front so they can air refuel. Yeah. I can remember very specifically looking across because they basically oftentimes you sit on the floor, but sometimes they have these little fold down seats. The cargo nets, very similar to what we have in the coffee shop, actually, the little red cargo nets.
Okay. Yeah.
Very similar, not the same, but similar. Not built for comfort or holding a human ass, I think. But they sure are light, I guess. And looking across, and I can't remember exactly what we were doing or where we were going, but it was overseas at the time, and being in awe of the people in the helicopter and their willingness to risk everything in a country that Americans will never go to, hopefully,
Yeah.
in the hopes that it would protect and preserve what we have as a nation. And just being in awe of those people. And I think it's safe to say I have felt a level of imposter syndrome my entire life in every environment that I have been in, meaning like I don't know if I actually belong in this place. I don't know if I am good enough, and you can fill whatever definition of that in you may be, whether it's shooting or tactical prowess or experience, whatever the fuck it is, in every environment. I feel that way in jiu-jitsu, right? I think imposter syndrome is probably healthier than like I'm better than everybody here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also possible to have a fake version of both, like a false humility, you know? But I legitimately can think of times where just like, where do we find these people?
Yeah.
And the reality is they find the job because of who they are. And again, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm proud to be an American. I was proud to be a part of that group, the group of people that is just legitimately willing to risk it all.
Right.
So not really a direct answer to your question. I can't, I really don't know if I've ever had a moment in my life. You know, maybe it's some people like, oh, I was watching the Olympics and they played on a sport that I loved or somebody that I knew and they played the national anthem as they were getting their gold medal. I can't think of anything like that. Huh. Yeah, that's the best answer I can give you.
Okay. Yeah.
Here's a question for you along those lines. You paying attention to the protests on campuses?
Yeah.
What do you value enough in your life for you personally that you would go protest for?
Oh, that is a really good question. Freedom of speech.
But one thing and I'm not trying to, I am not by any stretch trying to claim that I know exactly what they are protesting for. Had a few hours in a tattoo chair yesterday, so I was catching up on my current events. It seems like most of the protesters, and again, with a broad explanation, it's not going to be very precise. The articles, I should say, that I read had a similar narrative, and it was they want they want the organizations or institutions that they are protesting at to divest from Israel, any ties to Israel.
Okay.
And we can leave the pro-Israel, anti-Israel, pro-Palestine, anti-Palestine. For clarity, anybody who is advocating for Hamas, you can go fuck yourself because that's a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
Personal opinion, I'm not saying that should be global policy, even though I believe it should be global policy to be anti-terrorist organizations. So they want them to divest, but they're taking over buildings, they're holding infrastructure, they're camping. I don't know if that's the most effective. So what would you do if you felt like your First Amendment rights were being pressed upon? What action would you take? Would you go and protest, or do you think that those protests actually end up having the meaningful change that people are looking for?
No, I don't. I mean, maybe like second, third order effects, maybe. No, not even second, I would say. But first order effects, absolutely not. Like, nobody's going to look at the protest and be like, oh, because of this, we're going to change this.
Because of your unreasonable actions, we are going to I don't know. One, I also don't know the complexity of involvement in these organizations, but I feel like divesting from things like that is not a light switch either.
Well, yeah, I mean,
So are you going to sit there and camp there for 6 months and like ask for access to their books and, you know?
right, yeah. And the other thing too is you're actively disrupting the lives of the other students there trying to learn.
That's actually what kind of led most of the articles. Like UCLA closed down in-person classes. Mm-hmm. And I think Columbia University is another one I've heard a good amount about. I believe they shut them down as well. Yeah, it has impact beyond a lot of impact. You're robbing people of their educational opportunity.
Right. But I suppose if I was under the belief and that I truly believed that our First Amendment rights were under attack, I would probably think it was worth it to disrupt the lives of others to preserve the freedom of expression.
Yeah.
So I would imagine these people are in the same mindset of they truly believe that, you know, I don't really know what's going on over there, but they truly believe a genocide is happening. And they think, hey, like if we disrupt a few people's lives, I'm not saying I agree with what they're doing. I don't know. I think. Like,
What do you think about throwing soup on the Mona Lisa? Have you seen that one?
Oh yeah, that's retarded.
Thankfully,
hate
it's
that.
behind multiple layers of glass,
Yeah,
from my understanding.
yeah.
But
I don't understand that at all. It's it doesn't do anything. I mean, it just makes that organization get so much more hate and pushback.
yeah,
And yeah, I don't like it.
it's an interesting one, right? Like, what would it take for you to join not that crowd,
Yeah.
but like a crowd,
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I wonder how many people in any crowd, because I don't want to make it specific about that issue, how many people really believe in the issue and how many people are just searching for something to believe
Right.
in?
They see a crowd.
Or they want a community.
Yeah.
They want a
Yeah.
group of people. Maybe they're not wholly aligned with it, but if they say that they are,
Right. They're accepted.
or yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that that's unreasonable to say that that could be a part of the thought process. Most of these people are in their younger years. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are your age.
Yeah, actually.
So
Yeah.
very impressionable, very malleable, right? Not
Yeah.
capable of bringing the heat.
No spine at all.
I mean, it's al dente at best. You know what I mean? It's slightly undercooked.
So true. Yeah.
You'll get there. Yeah, it's. I appreciate people's willingness to stand up for what they believe in. I don't think every mechanism of doing so is necessarily the most effective.
Yeah.
But I don't fault them for their. I might fault what they believe in or not agree with it, but I don't fault anybody's belief in things. Like I don't question what you know.
Yeah. And I think I would have a lot less problem with it if it wasn't on private property.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics of UCLA and Columbia. I don't know if it's. I think University of California, Los Angeles. That's a state school. Columbia, I have no idea, and I don't know what the public versus private aspects of it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if they were on a sidewalk, I'd be like, okay, go for it. Like there are some people.
Sidewalks, public property.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen occasionally in Depot Park, there are protesters on the sidewalk?
Is that the one with the Veterans Memorial right there?
Yes.
Is that the name of the park? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are men standing there with guns, protecting the monument from threats that I am going to go out on a limb and say don't exist.
Yeah. Which they have the right to do.
They certainly do. And in the exercising of that right, I hope that they don't have loaded mags. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah. It's slightly shocking.
Yeah. It's very Montana.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
I have
statement.
seen a horse, like a caravan of horses being ridden with people having 6 shooters down Main Street in Kalispell. I have seen it.
Now, I wonder if that's more for a reenactment purpose or for...
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I
I don't know.
think it's cool.
I don't know if it'd fly in like L.A., but I think it's cool.
Definitely not. But here in Montana, it's cool.
What else you got?
All right, let's see. There's just so many. Did you hear about the guy?
Get it out.
He was a flat earther.
Oh, boy.
And he built a rocket to...
Yeah, and he died.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how many times I've watched that video? It took me forever to find because they were blacking out the impact. It took me longer than I care to admit to get to the video where you see him fucking pancaking himself in his homemade rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, you used to work in the aerospace industry.
Yeah.
Would you feel comfortable firing off the ignition switch on a rocket that you had put together?
No.
What if you were able to get like a mail? So there are experimental aircraft, like kit aircraft that you can order and put together. Would you feel comfortable doing that? If it had a step-by-step instruction.
If I had built it step by step, I would be more comfortable than a homemade rocket, but less comfortable than a pre-built aircraft.
For sure. Let's say you did it step by step, and at the end, you have 3 leftover bolts. Would you fire it up?
I think 3 bolts wouldn't be the end of the world, but depending on where they are.
What about a dozen of various sizes?
I would be like,
like
okay,
a big old lag bolt that you could tell like might be structural, and then some tiny ones.
I would just take it all apart and restart because I don't know about
Scare
that.
the fuck out of me too.
Yeah.
Apparently people buy it. It takes them years to put those together.
Yeah, I've worked on one experimental, and it was cool. Like, it was an interesting aircraft, but it's labeled experimental because it's not approved by the FAA, right? Or something like that.
I believe so. I'm not an expert on that.
Yeah.
Rocket Man, though, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, let's pull the video. I think his parachute came out as he left. I think the parachute system that was supposed to lower him down to, I was going to say space, that was going to lower him down to the perfectly flat Earth, failed on takeoff.
Ooh, yeah, that's unfortunate for sure.
Mad Mike Hughes. I mean, listen, the paint scheme on that thing is dope. I'm pretty sure.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, and
great.
advertising.
Tire commercial.
That's cool.
Fuck. I wish we could show this to people, but right now our
for some reason it's not working.
HidMe cable is not working.
Yeah.
God, that's a long ad. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh, God. Oh, that was wrong. Built by one man in his backyard. Man, so he can see Earth from space for himself because he believes it's a disk.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, the Earth is not flat. How dare you? Allegedly. Forward that thing up there a little bit.
Do what?
Forward it. I want to see this guy take off.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, there he goes. Okay.
And so the parachute did.
No, this was a test. That was a test. He hurt his back, but avoided serious injury.
And then the next time he died. Okay, it's not going to show us.
No.
Oops. Let's see if YouTube has it.
Oh yeah, YouTube's going to have that for sure. Flat Earth rocket death. Yep. Hit it.
I don't know if AP will have
They're not going to show the ending.
No.
But
okay,
I bet you they show... Come on, take off.
Here we go.
See, there goes the parachute.
Oh, yeah.
See how it came
That's
off?
Not good. Yeah.
Well, dude, you know what the last thing likely was to go through his mind?
What?
His asshole.
Probably.
Because he was in a rocket.
Yeah, he's like, oh, fuck, and then doesn't remember anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I respect the dedication. Again,
yeah.
Like, respect.
Should we restrict people from doing things like that?
No. As long as it's just themselves they're hurting.
I agree.
Go for it.
I mean, I'm not aware of homemade rocket kits or kits that you could order, but if there was one, I would put more thought into it than Leah would like to imagine that I would.
Yeah, I don't think Leah would be happy with you making a homemade rocket.
No. At least once a week, she's like, hey, what the fuck?
I'm surprised it's only once a week.
Well, she's getting used to me. And it's not things that I want to do. I'll just share with her my inner thoughts, and she'll just look at me and be like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Hey, I try to be as honest as I can. People who... First off, it's very weird meeting people who listen to the podcast because it's a lopsided relationship, meaning they know more about me. But the number of times people have said, oh, like, you're a totally normal person. Like, I don't have multiple personalities.
Yeah.
I'm exactly the same when you and I are sitting here as when we're on the jiu-jitsu mats or doing anything else. So.
Agreed. Yeah. All right, let's see what's next here. Oh, apparently another guy lit himself on fire.
In a protest?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hold on, let me see.
The first one was at out front of a Trump trial, right?
Yes. No. That was the second one.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That was in Manhattan.
The first one was a Palestine thing.
I mean,
Yeah, it's not going to show anything. Oh,
that's a weird artistic shot of just seeing the smoke billow
right. Yeah.
down screen. I don't think that people should actually probably not necessary to show that on the news.
No. Yeah.
I mean, it's this goes back to I want people to believe what they want to believe. Depth of belief and validity of belief are not necessarily the same things. And I want people to be able to express themselves in any way that they want to. But this is, to me, is just such a senseless loss of life.
Yeah.
Two people had done this. I was aware of one and peripherally aware of one because I saw a headline. I wasn't even aware of the second one, which is probably the opposite effect that this individual thought that he was going to have.
Exactly.
There's so much more that I think impact that you can have with your life than making a decision like that. I have so many questions about the person, their life, their mental and emotional stability and state. You know what I mean? Like, there's questions that I have.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Anyways,
unfortunate.
yeah, just didn't know if you saw that one.
No, I did
Another
not.
guy lighting himself on fire.
Like I said, I worry about your search history.
I don't even know where that came from. I think I saw it on Instagram, possibly.
Great.
Yeah. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Ooh.
Do you think it is purely a money-making scheme?
I think it can be both. I think it could be a real fight, and it certainly is a money-making scheme.
Yeah.
I think they're both going to get paid well. I think Mike Tyson isn't he in his 60s?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
He's close.
Yeah. So, I don't think you should fight old men.
57.
57. All right. But he's also Mike fucking Tyson.
Yeah.
And his dossier and volume of work in the violence industry is pretty robust. I don't want Mike Tyson to hit me at the age of 57 or 67 for that matter.
No.
If I'm being honest, I want to see him win.
Oh, I do too. I mean, even his
I know.
training videos
I've seen some of these. I know.
are still insane.
The man has been boxing for longer, I believe, than, is it Logan or Jake Paul that's going to fight him? Because I know they both
Jake, who is 27 years, so yeah, he's been boxing for longer than Jake has been alive.
Yeah. I mean, my God. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I would like to see Mike just absolutely destroy him.
Yeah, I would like to see that too.
I guess he doesn't seem like the type of guy that would take no knockout clause for money. Like
I read that their knockouts are allowed. That it's going to be a
Okay.
sanctioned bout, no headgear, knockouts are allowed. And I think, let's be honest here. At some dollar amount, you'll take a no knockout, non-sanctioned bout, depending on where you are in your life.
Yeah.
I have heard and read that Mike Tyson, allegedly, not the most responsible with his money.
I have heard that too.
So perhaps, depending on where you are in life, I mean, if they threw $50 million at me to fight Mike Tyson and I could say he doesn't get to knock me out, I mean, I'm probably going to take that.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
What would be the first thing you would buy if you had $50 million?
Oh, man, probably a house.
What kind of house? Would you go big? Hilltop?
no.
Surveying the peasants that are underneath you? The bourgeois class that serves you now?
I'm pretty sure proletariat is, or no. I don't remember which one is which.
I don't either. I don't actually know that word. I'll look that up later. So you get $50 million, and that's after tax, because for whatever reason in this made-up scenario, the tax is already paid. So you get $50 million. What kind of house would you buy?
Nothing
Give me the
crazy.
specs.
Like medium size, probably.
What does that mean? Square footage.
I don't really know the whole.
How many bedrooms?
Let's go with 3.
3-bedroom house. You have $50 million. Okay, tell me more.
But like,
Where would you put it?
Away, like out in the wilderness, in the woods.
How would you get there?
A road. I have $50 million. I can probably afford to put a road out there.
Okay.
And electricity and water.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
We round off air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would isolate yourself
Yeah.
in the woods.
Yep.
Okay.
More modern interior,
Okay.
but maybe like log cabin or like log house. But
What the
just
fuck is
with
wrong
a
with you?
modern interior and
A
stuff.
log house with a modern interior.
Yeah.
You're like a 90-year-old trapped in a 23-year-old's body.
I know you guys have told me that like 50
I know.
times.
How many car garage?
2 or 3.
Okay. What kind of car would you splurge on?
Oh, I've thought about this. I don't know. Maybe
Don't say a
like,
fucking Tesla. I will get up and
no,
slap
I'm
your face.
not getting a Tesla. Although they are cool though.
I'm not knocking them. I'm saying with $50 million, be more creative.
Yeah, no, I would like to get like a really, like an older like Land Cruiser, but really decked out with all.
Like the Rogan version, where exterior looks the same, but interior has a Corvette engine and all the modern things.
Yeah, I didn't even know that existed, but yeah.
I think there's a company called Icon that makes them. Okay. All right. So you would be understated.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to like show it off.
What would you do with your time?
Well, jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And I would probably travel a lot.
Yeah. Well, given you haven't traveled at all, that'd be a good first step.
Yeah. And I'm sure I would probably find some little job to keep me occupied just because.
What little job? Like librarian?
Yeah, just something easy that, I don't know, because I feel like I would get bored if I didn't have anything to do with my time.
In your log cabin?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the woods.
I could also just go.
I can't imagine why you'd be bored. You'd be in your isolated log cabin in the woods. You know, log cabin exterior, modern interior,
Yeah,
of course.
get it right, please.
Yeah, with your...
This is my house we're talking
I know, with your Land Rover that you would drive only probably on your road to get to your house, and then you get a part-time job. God, I think our country might be fucked. There's nothing lavish in that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just never saw the point of like having a huge house, especially if it's just one person or two people.
What like lavish toy would you spoil yourself with? Is there anything you can think of? I'll give you some examples. Would you buy like a jet ski?
No, probably the Mater Baiter.
One for every day, I guess.
No, man, I don't know. I like nice. I do want horses. Like I like horses.
Fuck.
So then those are expensive.
Yeah,
Like all the
they're like
stuff you
50
need.
grand. There's a few more zeros on 50 million. You wouldn't nerd out and get like a killer boat for Flathead Lake or
That'd be cool, but
all right.
yeah.
God.
Anyways, what would you do with 50 million?
Just go to Vegas and bet it all in black. Because then I'd have 100 million.
That's true.
No, I would never do that.
You can only lose 100% of your money, but you can win a bajillion percent.
That's correct. Unlimited upside. I would not go to Vegas. I'm joking. I don't advocate anybody do that. I would not actually change a lot about my life, but I tell you what I would buy.
What?
Fucking helicopter.
Yeah, you're getting certified right now, right?
I've done 2 lessons. It's not that big of a deal. You've probably heard about me or seen a helicopter about to crash, and that was...
You're like, oh, that was Andy.
Dude, there's a lot going on.
I mean, I can only imagine.
There is a lot going on. I have 2.3 helicopter flight hours. Again, not a big deal. Pretty much know everything there is about rotary wing aviation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for people listening, I'm fucking joking. It is complex.
Yeah, it sounds, I mean, I don't know. I guess I've never flown anything, but.
Have you ever been in a helicopter? The fact that you're thinking about it that
I don't
long
think
disturbs
so.
me
Yeah,
because
I
you
don't
should
think
remember
so.
that. Okay. When would you have been in a helicopter, Michael? Mr. Deep Thinker over there about your life experiences that are like 7 years old.
I just.
Oh, hold on. Let me go through the deep Rolodex of my 23 years.
24.
Whatever.
And a half.
To me, you're always 23.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. It was I have done. I mean, as I was looking at getting ready to start, I did a bunch of research, obviously, on like the minimum requirements, things that it takes. And there's two camps. There's people who think that having fixed wing time before is a benefit, and then people who think that it's actually a detriment. I don't know either way. I don't have enough experience to say either way. Yesterday, though, we were doing like takeoff and landings and traffic pattern work, meaning you stay close to the airport and you take off and land. I've done that thousands of times in a fixed wing aircraft, so the mechanics of what we were doing was easy. Controlling that fucking gyroscopic monster, not as easy, but I also can't. If I didn't have the basic understanding of aviation that I did, it would be even harder.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful that I have at least the knowledge of like basic airport traffic pattern procedures, and talking on the radio is very easy, and understanding what needs to be said and when and all those. And then the terminology you can use with your instructor, like you can understand all those things. That's all great. That would be, I think it would be very difficult to start with nothing, not impossible by any stretch, but more difficult comparatively. But yeah, I do know enough about helicopters at this point to say they fly absolutely nothing like airplanes.
I've heard. Well, yeah, in an airplane you're constantly moving forward. And
You can stall airplanes.
Right, but I guess, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about really.
Sometimes you have to hit the brakes and let them fly right by. You know.
Yeah, for sure, Top Gun-esque.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But I've heard one of the hardest things to do in a helicopter is just hover.
Yeah, it's
in
not
one
easy.
spot,
It is not easy.
which is, I guess, I don't know. To me, it doesn't make sense. But
Why doesn't it make sense?
Just because I don't have any experience. Like, it seems like moving would be easier than not. I mean, not moving would be easier than moving.
Again, let's look at this through the lens of 2.3 flight hours. When you are moving, it is easier.
Okay.
When you are static, so both of your feet and your left and right hand are doing something, and if you make an adjustment with any of those things, you have to make another adjustment with both of the other.
Yeah.
So to hold in place over like a pinhead,
Yeah.
and like let's say a gust of wind comes in, or you make just like a little bit of an
Right,
adjustment,
yeah.
which is going to affect your power, which is going to affect the torque, and you're up there sweating fucking bullets.
Yeah,
And then the instructor's just like, I got it. And they're just like,
Yeah.
so whatever.
Huh. That's cool though. I think helicopters are cool.
Yeah. It's, that's all I would buy. I'd buy a helicopter.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's how we got onto this topic.
$50 million.
Okay, cool.
The rest of it I would show to my children in a bank account and never let them touch it. And be like, this is mine. You guys can go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's
Yeah.
very Andy.
They got to earn it, man. I don't think you benefit from having everything given to you.
Oh, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no.
What else?
All right, what's next here?
I don't know. It's your show. As usual, you came unprepared for your episode, which I told you about yesterday.
No, I didn't. Look, I have a huge list right here.
All right. I'm not so sure you basically just held up your phone that has notes of some kind. That could be the class curriculum schedule.
So Iran apparently launched missiles or drones, I think.
Yeah, I saw
at
that.
Israel.
With zero of them having any impact whatsoever.
Yeah. And I heard that it was basically a ploy to satiate the people in Iran that were saying we need to attack Israel without actually being a meaningful attack, because they knew Israel would just be able to
I can see that.
bat it away.
They're just satisfying the loudest voices, so they quell it down a little bit. I can see that. Yeah, I'm not an expert in that region of the world by any stretch, but people should educate themselves on how long there has been contentious fighting going on there.
For all of history, like,
Pretty much.
it's kind of it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. How much do you think the U.S. should get involved in that?
I don't know. I've thought about this a lot. I want to say minimal involvement, but also I worry about the downstream effects of like a terrorist organization or Iran taking over that whole area.
What are your thoughts on this? Because I spent a lot of time thinking about how fucked our government is. I have a new bill that I'm going to put into whatever you would call it for it to get voted to be active.
Right.
That's my level of depth.
That sounds pretty accurate.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
So here's one. Before the U.S. commits to warfare of any kind, the people who are going to vote on it the ones, because there are people who are very pro-war.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in the government and you're voting for war, you have to either go fight it yourself or dedicate a family member to go in your stead.
That, I think, would drastically decrease the likelihood of any war bill getting passed.
Yeah. I think that might be a good thing.
I do too. Yeah, I generally think that we should be more isolationist and focus internally as opposed to trying to, I don't know if enforce our will is the right word, but get involved with everything going on in the world.
We have to have a balance for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have enough problems in our own country that we certainly could use a little bit more effort and energy and focus.
Yeah.
Internal. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean you should ignore external, but maybe a balance. But yeah, you want to talk about a difference on people, in our government wanting to declare war? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Either put your name here or the name of the person who's going to go and see how much you want it.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying there aren't things worth fighting for. What I'm saying is it's easy to make those decisions when you know it's not going to have to be you.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's my, I guess, problem with a lot of, in America for sure, but a lot of other more strict governments is they're making decisions that benefit them and a lot of the time hurts everybody below them.
I think that could be all governments.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of people in the U.S. government are acting in that manner.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it just, hence why I just am so disheartened by our whole government right now. And
fortunately, we have a pretty dope election cycle coming up, and I'm sure it'll be just the best.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure everything will change.
It'll be the best of who we are as a country displayed for the world to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's a geriatric boxing match.
God. What's interesting is people shit on Biden for his age, and I'm not saying you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Trump isn't that much younger.
He's pretty old.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if this is true, but he was like one of the oldest presidents when he was elected.
Biden?
Trump.
I don't know. What would you guess be? 70 something would be my guess.
Yeah, 76 maybe.
43, oh God, here we go.
I don't want.
Good luck finding it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to read this. So Biden's 81 right now.
Yep.
Which is crazy. So Trump was born in 46. You're good at mental math.
Not at all. I mean, I could tell you that that's 54 years to 2000. So he was in his 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old is he now?
Let's see.
77. Oh, yeah. So he's 4 years younger than Biden.
So he's pretty close. That's not too big of an age gap.
No. It's one presidential election cycle.
Yeah. I wonder how old. What's your feelings on RFK?
I like some of the things that he says.
Yeah.
Where's he at? God damn it, dude. You're all over the place with the mice. 70.
The mice. Still old.
How wild is it when people are like, oh, 70, that's good. Get a young buck in there. What the fuck is wrong with us?
Yeah, that's pretty old.
Yeah.
I saw, did you see recently, it's been going around, the ages of the founding fathers?
They're not that old.
It was like 20.
Yeah, but
20
he
to
died,
30.
old age then was 40.
Yeah, so. But still, it's kind of crazy. Like, I can't imagine leading a revolution at 20.
I can't imagine you leading a revolution at 20 either, or at any time,
you
actually.
would say that,
yeah.
But I mean, just in general, I think any 20-year-old nowadays is like...
You know, people talk shit on the younger generation. I think if they were truly pressed, which is, I think, one of the issues that we have is that they're not pressed.
Yeah.
I think they would rise to the occasion.
I think
not
so.
all of them, but we would have a battalion of skinny jean fighting motherfuckers. And they would go to town. I think that I don't know what cause it would be, and I don't know what press it would take. I think they would rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Some, not all.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you look at World War II, like the enlistment surge after Pearl Harbor, and most of those people were probably 18 to 22.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of them lied about their age to get in.
I've read a quote a few times and seen it a few times. World War II, we had men lying about their age to fight overseas. In 2022, we have men lying about their gender to win swimming competitions. Again, that's the quote that I read. I'm not saying I believe that, but there's also a startling level of accuracy with that as well.
Yeah.
Last question, Michael.
All right.
What do you got? Finish off with the heat that you were incapable of bringing at the beginning.
See, that's the thing. You say that every time, so it's kind of lost its
Not to me.
zing.
Not to me.
Okay.
What's the most controversial question you have on there?
Ooh. Okay. This is pretty... I've heard it said a lot of times, actually, that the U.S., I guess I'll be more clear, the federal government is essentially a big money laundering scheme. That
I've seen this too, where taxes is money.
Yeah.
Taxes is a crime. It's money laundering. Fuck, man, I don't know. Could it be used as that? I'm sure it absolutely could be. But I also think that people confuse the government for the individuals that are inside of the government, and I don't think you could argue against that. A lot of people in government service are doing it from a self-serving capacity.
Yeah.
But I also don't think that you could argue that there are plenty of people who are actually serving because they believe in their service.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's equal parts both, which I know has often been my answer. And people say, well, what about this or this? And it's like, I think both can be true. But I also find that in my own experience in life, that's often the case. The binary, it's either this or only this, is almost never accurate.
Yeah.
So maybe both. I do think the government needs to be much, much smaller.
Yeah.
I do think that people should really educate themselves, like we're having an election cycle getting ready to come up for our president, but look at the people we're able to vote for, and then look at the vast majority of the U.S. government that we don't vote for, that stays in place as these administrations pass through. How much power are they holding versus the people who are coming in every 4 years?
Yeah.
I think the government is far too large. I don't think the founding fathers ever had any idea, one, that people would want to make a career out of politics, or that the government would ever be this size.
Yeah.
So and they did a damn good job, but of course, I mean, they didn't know Teslas were on the horizon.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, a lot of the Bill of Rights is kind of what keeps some of the institutions and pillars of freedoms alive today.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
200-plus-year-old document.
Yeah.
Not bad. They were some smart fuckers.
Yeah.
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 So were they perfect? Absolutely not. Is the government perfect? No, I don't think it can be, because it's populated by human beings, which are by and large, I believe the technical term is idiots.
Yeah.
And I include myself in that category.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. What else you got, Michael? What are your closing thoughts for this Friday? What do you want to send people off into their weekend with? Deep thoughts by Michael.
I would say go and actually research each candidate for election, and instead of voting based on the person, just vote based on what they are saying they will do, what their values are, what their stance on the issues is. I'm sure most of the listeners of this podcast already do that, but if there's anybody who's voting just based on left or right, I think you should
do better.
Review your agenda. Yeah.
We can do better. All right, Michael. What number was that? Like 5?
I think 6.
Nobody knows. I'll look back on YouTube and find out.
We'll see.
All right. That's all I got. Is that all you have?
Yep. That's all I got.
Good.